Welcome back to Beast Machines Monday, a show where two best friends get together and discuss our mutual love of a show from eons past. Beast Machines. A show of hardship, friendship, help me out here.
And monkey business.
And monkey business.
Hi, I'm Decepticon Doug.
And I'm Predacon Paul. This episode is called
Mercenary Pursuits. Just like Empire Strikes Back, a lot of mercenary pursuits happening in there too.
We don't need their scum.
Mercenary Pursuits begins with Megatron. Today, Megatron is the Optimus, and he's yelling at his troops. And he's like, you guys are idiots, you guys are idiots, you guys are idiots. He wanted to make sure that he addressed them each individually. But no, he wanted to address them each, but also not as individuals. I am tired of this nonsense. They're like, hey, it was his fault, no, it was his fault, no, it was his fault. And he's like, so be it.
Jedi.
And he electrocutes them, and they don't like that because
electricity hurts.
Being tortured is just generally not pleasurable, from my experience.
Some people there's a market for it. Let's just say.
Okay, yeah, but then one could argue that's not torture.
He tells them straight up. He's like, look, if you fail me, I will hurt you. But if you succeed,
I will give you freedom, like the genie from Aladdin.
Oof. Mm-hmm. Poof, what do you need? Poof, what do you need? Poof, what do you need? So what kind of freedom are they talking about? Questions that need answering. Questions for later. Let's go to Minas Tirith.
So the Predacons, they go off looking for Maximals.
With both their eyes and their sensing equipment.
But as we know now, the sensing equipment ain't gonna do nothing, because if the Maximals are in beast mode, they can't scan them. Now they're feeling very competitive. They all want to win.
They want the reward.
Yeah, whatever the reward.
That was promised by Megatron.
Yeah. Thrust and Jetstorm start getting into a bit of a brawl and start smashing each other through windows and shooting each other, not finding Maximals. Tankor is actually looking, not squabbling amongst themselves.
And where are the Maximals, you say? They're on a quest, hunting for Spurks. Because Optimus, like he said in the first episode, can actually detect them now. Using his spark detector.
Yeah, and Optimus's power, which we've known about this whole time, is that he feels sparks. He feels sparks and he's like, yes, I feel them. Optimus is looking at this thing, and he finally told him, hey, by the way, Rhinox and Silverbolt. He's like, oh, Rhinox and Silverbolt, how did I forget about them? I think what he's imagining is that they're home alone and jumping on the bed and ordering pizza and all that stuff, but...
Using their credit card?
But it could be actually that they're dead or something. Who knows?
Or just not online anymore.
Yeah.
Which is another word for dead.
Yes.
But it's more kid-friendly.
Mm-hmm. Or in the next dimension.
The next dimension? Oh, no.
Rattrap and Cheetor, they find a building, and it's got, a lot of locks and stuff like that. So Cheetor's like, well, if it's that locked, it's got to be important. And Rattrap's like, well, good thing I'm a rat, and I know how to get into places.
Did you know that an average rat can chew through a steel drain pipe?
So this average rat gets into the building, unlocks the door.
Says, forget about it, cuh.
Hey, forget about it. And then they get in and they're like, oh, this looks like I know what this is. This is a virus making factory.
Is it because it's green? Anyways.
Well, actually, if you think about it, they have a lot of extensive knowledge of virus making facilities, like that time that they got into Tarantulas' lair. Well, except Rhinox did fart and destroy it pretty fast, but they were in a virus making facility before on a smaller scale.
It's true. Scorponok did have a virus lab, and it might have had green stuff in it.
That's true, yeah, from Monkey Business.
Monkey Business, yeah, where he makes MonkeyBot really, really angry.
Yeah. So, they have a lot of experience with viruses. They're always green goos. So they see this thing full of green goo, and they're like, viruses!
And there must be an evil scientist somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, Megatron. I just solved Beast Machines.
They determined that there's actually a transformation-enabling counter-virus.
How did they jump to that conclusion?
Well... They've been through...
One was in a glass tube and the other one was in another glass tube, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Clearly, if you got one, the other one's got to be its opposite, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because if you accidentally poke yourself, or you accidentally drink it, you put your Dr. Pepper down, and then you pick it up again and you drink it, you go, oh wait, that was the beaker full of virus. Thank God I got this here.
Exactly, yeah. The scientists are always prepared for these kind of things.
They're smart, right? That's why they have lab coats and stuff.
Yeah, and safety goggles, because it's smart to protect your vision.
My eyes, the goggles do nothing.
Cheetor's like, whoa, Rattrap, what are you going to do with that thing? Rattrap's like, well, I was going to make myself transform because I'm useless as a rat.
Which is stupid because that technovirus worked on their old forms, their old robot modes, right?
Yeah.
So why would he just assume it would work on his new techno-organic form?
I feel like Rattrap hasn't really come to terms or really figured out what all this even means. Cheetor's like, Rattrap, maybe don't use that because we don't know what's going to happen. We should talk to Optimus first. But Rattrap, being super good at concealing what he's going to do, is like, don't worry, Cheetor. I would never do anything like that because I'm very cautious.
And trustworthy. And furthermore, I promise.
And Cheetor's like, cool, all right, let's go.
Hey, I trust you to do the smart thing. And then he just leaves him on his own, tells him not to touch anything.
It's almost like Rattrap Season 1 talking to Cheetor Season 1, but reversed.
Yeah.
So Cheetor goes to talk to Optimus, and he doesn't even bother to, like, take notice that Rattrap isn't following him. And Optimus is like, whoa, using my ability that you've known about this whole time, and I feel a spark near us.
And then, there goes Starscream.
I'll be revenged on you!
Oh, no, not that spark.
I did feel a familiar spark. Well, that's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
And then all of a sudden, no, Tankor! No!
Now, Tankor's got visual confirmation, so even though they're still in beast mode, he sees them and is like, oh, shooty shoot, bang bang. And so he shooty shoots and bang bangs them.
Whoa. It's not even Saturday night.
So they start to run away as usual. Tankor tries to shoot them, but they're staying in beast mode. Optimus wants to keep this real stealth. He's kind of regained his composure and starts thinking straight again.
He's like, there's things around us that might explode, so don't transform.
But then they bump into Rattrap, who's like, guess what, everybody? Look what I can do! And he transforms into robot mode, and
he's got like a red halo around him, or red aura when he transforms. Yeah, which is not cool because the other ones have blue ones, which means he's a dark side Sith user. And then he transforms, and he reveals. Back up.
Yeah, I've been on my own for seconds. I don't need anybody.
Yeah, he looks oddly like that kid from that one episode of Reboot, which we haven't reviewed yet because we haven't done Reboot yet, but we will. And then we'll talk about how that kid looks like Rattrap. But the kid came first. That was way too much exposition for this one little joke. Except he's like that kid but with wheels. He got wheels instead of legs.
God, he looks so stupid.
And they're like, turn back to beast mode. There's a tank over there. He's gonna shoot us. And he's like, okay. And then he can't. He turns to beast mode, but then he turns back into robot mode. And he doesn't have control over himself, which
that's puberty for you.
So Rattrap's having a tough time. He keeps doesn't just transform back and forth, but he kind of sometimes merges the two bodies and even has two heads at one point. And like Zaphod
Beetleborgs.
Zaphod. Oh, what is that character's name?
Hey, what?
Hey, what?
The ship picked them up all by itself.
So what?
Anyway, the character with two heads from Hitchhiker's Guide from the Galaxy. Zaphod something.
So then Cheetor is all like, yo, don't tell me you took the thingy. And he's like, I totally took the thing. He's like, don't tell me you took the thing. He's like, I took the thingy.
I already told you that I took the thing. I can't untell you that I took the thingy.
Just like I can't thingy to take.
So Optimus is like, okay, well, I guess stealth just isn't going to work. So let's do the shooty shoot, blast stuff. Because of the explosions with Tankor shooting and everything like that, and all the fact that they transformed, Jetstorm and Thrust are like, oh right, we got things we gotta do. So they go, they're still competitive, so they're gonna race there. Jetstorm has the advantage on that one for sure.
Oh yeah.
So they're gonna go and basically try and claim Maximals, even though Tankor's doing all the work.
The fight ensues, but then Tankor ends up blasting some giant pressure vessel thing with energy in it. And then it explodes and it just wipes everybody out.
It knocks everyone out, but luckily Tankor's the biggest, dumbest one, so he can't get brain damage because it's already as damaged as it's going to get. He gathers up the Maximals. We don't really see how he carries them all to Megatron. But luckily there's a scene cut to the Maximals in shackles at Megatron's lair. And Megatron's like, good boy, Tankor.
Tankor good.
Tankor good. Tankor like pets.
The shackles that they're using to hold the Maximals are the same shackles that Covert Agent Ravage used on Megatron.
Yeah, I think you're right. If not, then they're similar enough that it's...
They were probably manufactured at the same place. Megatron's giving him a pet.
He's like, you're a good boy. You're a good boy.
He's just like stomping his little tracks.
And Rattrap is still transforming back and forth. And in that process, because of him getting wheels and stuff, and so him sort of changing height and knocking those little transportery things around, he manages to break free. And Megatron's monologuing because he's a bad guy, and that's what they do. Rattrap, he's like, oh, okay, well, now that I'm free, I guess I'm out of here. So he's like, sorry guys, I gotta go, okay. So he sees a little panel, and he's like, well, I guess smashing this panel is as good as smashing any panel, so he does it, and it did happen to be the right one, and their shackles fell down, and...
Good thing they put the panel low enough that Rattrap in his beast mode could hit it, even though Megatron's way up here and he controls everything with his mind.
but why let a simple little design flaw like that ruin your day?
It just doesn't make any sense that it would be designed like that in the first place.
I blame the flying little Jarvis guy.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, what an idiot. The Maximals are now free, and they're like...
Hiya!
And Megatron's like, oh! Yeah, they start to run away, and then Megatron's like, Tankor, just go get them. Do good. Do good again.
And then Optimus is all like, I'm going to use that other ability that you knew that I could do since day one, and that is psychically link with you.
So he goes into Tankor's brain, and he's like, Tankor, come on, man.
Come on. Tankor's like, you're right! Oh man, I almost shot you. And then he turns around and goes after Megatron. And a scene that was actually kind of cool because he did look kind of imposing. Megatron's zapping him with his lasers, or lightning, and then he like transforms. Then he's like, he's like walking through, and the ground is shaking, and just like, yeah, get him.
You actually feel like he could actually do some damage to Megatron.
Yeah, especially Megatron's like laying there, like, why didn't you just shoot him?
And then a little tube thingy goes into the back of Tankor and starts electrocuting
Gives him an enema. He's like, whoa.
Put him in a straitjacket and give him an enema.
And then he's like, no, not another enema. So Rattrap jumps in, bites the cable to release Tankor. He gets electrocuted, and that magically cures the virus, or counter-virus, or the thing that was messing around with him, and he's just a rat again. So they all run away now that Tankor's free again, and they escape.
And then Megatron's like, oh, God, I think if I use my brain here, and I think really hard, push this button, and just go into his CPU, I can wipe out the last 20 cycles. And he does.
He's like, oh, you go for the brain, of course. And
that's a smart thing to do.
Especially when Tankor's brain isn't exactly that hard to hack into, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Megatron goes in there, and he goes, come on.
He's like, oh, come on. You're right.
Yeah. Basically, he just deleted the episode that just played from Tankor's brain, and so he kind of went back to his default settings and went, pow, pow, zap, zap, smash, smash. And they fight a little bit. Black Arachnia ties him up. And he falls, and his gun is about to fire, but it lands in the ground and shoots. And in a very cartoony moment, he just flies straight up in the air and happens to land on Jetstorm and Thrust while they're on their way back to the base. Because
yeah, but he goes through like 12 different floors. He's like,
leaving.
Which doesn't make any sense.
Well, it makes sense because you can see the perfect outline of him.
Oh, that's right. It means he was going so fast.
Yeah, so fast. Like he slid it on the molecular level.
Okay.
Then he landed on Jetstorm and Thrust because we needed that.
If I never see him, it'll be too soon. But like the sound, he was going slow enough that it was like a good 2 or 3 seconds in between floors. So it doesn't make sense that he'd hit it and then just get through, and then like hit it and then just like bore through and then hit it. It's just that really bothered me, and I'm gonna talk about that and the things
that didn't work. Things that didn't work. We'll just shelve that in the too silly. The Maximals are like, whew, got out of that one, and they ride off into the sunset.
They were like, thank you very much.
So what worked?
Oh, what worked? What didn't work is more like it.
Okay, well, then let's get into that. What didn't work? Other than, okay, well, if I could throw my 2 cents worth in, suddenly Optimus has got some magic powers that we didn't know about.
He's a monkey wizard.
That's what I call the Superman effect, is where you have a character who's very, very powerful, but then when the plot needs him to do something, he has another power that just happens to be what the plot needed him to do. Superman basically, his powers kind of change depending on who's writing him and what they need him to do. And Optimus, he can sense sparks now.
He can link with you psychically.
Yeah, that's right. He can just connect to your brain by going, hey. I don't know, like, I kind of see why they needed the story for him to be able to... Why not just talk to him and just appeal to him on that sort of more logical level? I know he's Tankor, so he's dumb, but, like, you can also just use your words.
Like, something as simple as him about to crush Rattrap, and then, like, Rattrap just saying, like, God, we're all gonna die, or something that he said before. You know?
Yeah, given what we know about Tankor in the future, no spoilers... That would actually be cool because it would just sort of drop a little hint.
And then confuse him a little bit. And then you'd be like, the audience would be like, whoa, why did he... I knew it. He's Ravage! And then they could be like, yeah, for sure.
That explains Tankor's Russian accent as well.
Yeah.
Tankor smash!
Tankor smash!
Tankor shoot it!
Bad the bee spots. Blast you. No, but it is kind of... It kind of irks a little bit, you know? Like, well, what else is he going to do next time?
And we'll find out. I didn't mind the idea of Rattrap taking this thing to help him transform. I know that we discussed how it would be very illogical to come to that conclusion, but I think he's getting very frustrated and kind of desperate to transform, so I understand his motivation for that.
Yeah.
But what I did have a problem with was how does being electrocuted by a thing fix that? Okay, we just got to wrap this up, basically, is how it kind of felt. So he bites it and...
I think in this case... Rattrap did something very selfish. Him doing that selfish thing is what got them into this position in the first place. Tankor, who was just shooting at them earlier and captured them and brought them to Megatron all tied up, shows like a spark of individuality, and Rattrap goes far beyond even what he normally does and risks his life to try to save this person who he doesn't know, which then shows a selflessness which then heals him. So I think that he did one act that was very selfish, and then did a selfless act, which then inadvertently rescued him from the plight that he was in.
Okay, so from a character story standpoint,
he earned it.
Okay, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I guess from the technical, logical standpoint, maybe you could argue like how a fever may burn away a virus in a person. Perhaps a big shock to the system would burn away whatever was in his system. Maybe you could argue that.
Especially considering they are techno-organic. And you can wipe out like memory on stuff with computers and stuff with electricity, right?
Okay.
It could be argued it's a stretch, but it could be argued. And once you pepper in the selfless act.
All right, I'll rescind my complaint and say that
It's a perfectly valid complaint.
I think it does kind of feel like it just services the story needing to wrap up. But I guess because you can make an argument for it, I guess I'll put it under I feel neutral about it instead.
Neutral.
There you go. I like that we are seeing a lot of character growth in Cheetor.
Yes.
Yeah, and the fact that he's becoming more cautious, he's becoming wiser. We did joke about the fact that reckless Cheetor was now trying to slow down reckless Rattrap instead. And that was kind of an interesting role reversal that I felt, I don't know, more and more Cheetor is just kind of stepping up to the plate.
Yeah, but also like Rattrap he's still the same old guy. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Rattrap hasn't really grown so much. He's selfish.
That's right in the middle of selfish.
He really is, because he's selfish, but he can be selfless.
Yes. So. There you go. So yeah, Rattrap, a very selfless character.
In a way, Rattrap hasn't really changed. He's always been that guy he's always thinking about number one, but there's beneath that need for self-preservation, there's still this little spark of a hero that just is guilty if he leaves somebody behind or feels like he needs to do something, right? Which we see when he tries to help Tankor. But Cheetor has grown so much, and of all the characters in the show, he's changed the most. He goes from being that reckless Cheetor from season 1 who doesn't use his head at all to being Transmetal Cheetor, who's a little bit more seasoned and a little bit more patient, and then he's Transmetal 2 Cheetor, and he's more edgy and kind of angry, but it seems more like he's in that the just past puberty stage, and I'm gonna take on my dad and beat him up thing, you know?
Yeah, or stepdad, because he can't grow a mustache.
Face of an angel. The wings of a dove. Cheetor is now at this stage now where he's matured enough and he tends to think before he acts, which is kind of nice.
We have yet to have any episodes of him causing the story to happen by just running off.
Thank
God. Yeah.
One of the things that I did really like as well, if we can talk about Rattrap a little bit more.
Yes, let's.
Yes, let's. Is the fact that he did try to save somebody who just like a few seconds ago was, trying to kill him. But he saw that, like, okay, this person's having a change of heart. He's like I was saying earlier, has a moment of individual thought. And he's thinking for himself, and he's like, no, I'm going to help this person.
I mean, if you think about Rattrap and his history during the Beast Wars, he has seen numerous Predacons turn to Maximals. Whether it's Dinobot, Black Arachnia, even the one who's deepest down the hole of all, Silverbolt.
Oh, dude, I'm surprised he could even be redeemed.
If Silverbolt could come out of the darkness that was the Predacon lifestyle, then anyone could. So he's like, well, hey, if Silverbolt can do it, Tankor can do it.
I mean, there's killing younglings, Silverbolt.
Yeah. If there were any younglings on Earth when Silverbolt came out of that stasis pod, would have been axed right away.
Yep. Or feathered.
Or feathered, yeah.
You make a great case for Rattrap there, okay?
Yeah, totally. But in honesty, like, I think the Rattrap at the very beginning of the Beast Wars would have been like, screw this guy, and just would have left. But in all honesty, I think his experience with Dinobot probably warmed him up to the idea of, like,
and
redemption.
Black Arachnia.
Yeah. Although I feel like Rattrap and Black Arachnia never really got close. He still gave her a little bit of, like, flack for being a Predacon. But that's because they just didn't have enough time to... Like, they were focused on different things for Black Arachnia's story arc. And so, they only have so much time to do. That's two Predacons who were, like, legit Predacons that he saw turn to the light side, as it were, and really pull through for the team. So he's like, even though Tankor's big and dumb, maybe he's got a heart, too.
Of gold.
Optimus finally chilled out. That was nice to see. He's being a little more level-headed.
Well, he needed to zen himself before he could send himself.
Deep. I like it. I think it is a little sad that ultimately the Vehicons are slaves to Megatron, even the ones with sparks. He can literally just access their memories and delete any progress that they've made, anything that could get in the way of what he needs them for. This reveals that that's the tragedy of the characters.
Yeah. But one thing that I did like to see was the, even though it did just happen, and then as soon as it happened, he immediately started like blasting all the Maximals. They never once took an offensive shot at him. Who is it? Cheetor is like, won't he just make up his mind or something? Optimus is like, he can't, not with Megatron in there. Like,
and he tries to reconnect, and he tries to use his superpower to get into the brain. But then Megatron put up a firewall, just like
a firewall.
Dun, 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 dun.
No one can do his laugh like he can.
No one could do Tony J's voice but Tony J.
Yeah.
It feels like it went by pretty fast.
It went by so fast.
Just like, I feel like that's definitely a thing with Beast Machines, is that they cut a very fast pace, and it's like, whoa, okay, I guess the episode's done.
It's because they're usually in the middle of something already. I mean, the last two episodes. They were like smack dab in the middle of something.
So we are going to give Mercenary Pursuits 3 out of 5 transformation counter-viruses.
Not great. Not awful. Just sort of like right there in the middle.
A little bit of too much like plot convenience stuff, but not bad character work overall.
Yeah.
So what did you think of Mercenary Pursuits? We'd love to know in the comments down below. And don't forget to like and subscribe, because you don't want to miss out on the next Beast Wars. No, you don't want to miss out on the next Beast Machines Monday, because it's awesome.
Am I going crazy? I just saw light here. Alright, whatever. Well,
Seven
also,
stroke.
if you